This house is bad again. Welcome to Happy Suffer.
This
Is that
house
real?
is
No,
bad.
the since we did 4 movies in the first episode, I was just like, this house is pretty bad, and then I forget what I did for the last month, but it's a remake, so
Bad
The house is still bad.
let's just start calling these movies the Bad House. Honestly, this is our third episode of the Amityville series. We're talking about 2005's Amityville horror remake. Kit's here with me and Katie to talk about this one
This
Hi,
is the only
Kit.
one I have any interest in
until we get to
partaking in.
Amityville Clown House.
Oh God.
There's also been, since I think the last time we recorded, like 4 new movies that have popped up on fucking
No.
Letterboxd.
The Amityville Spider.
Hold on, let's see. There was I can't remember what the last one was, but now there's Amityville Vampire coming out,
Oh hell yeah.
Amityville Poltergeist, Amityville
Wow.
Hex,
The-
Amityville Cornfield, which I'm very here for, Amityville Cult, and Amityville in the Hood. So
Oh God,
this is never gonna end.
we're trapped.
You can't catch up.
Yeah.
This is a
But
foolish
it's just
endeavor.
every month there's like 4 new movies announced. But anyway,
This is
cover of
Stephen
Amityville
King
the Hood was
syndrome.
delightful.
we should just. I'm pretty interested to see what the vampire movie will be like at whatever the fuck the cornfield one's gonna be. But I feel like everything else is gonna be bad from here on forward.
I can't imagine Amityville Cop and Amityville Cornfield are bad. Or Amityville Germany.
Ooh, what is Amityville, Germany?
Did you know there's not just Amityville Shark, there's Amityville Shark House?
Well, I know a bunch of these have like different titles for like the same movies, because Amityville Island is the name of Amityville Shark, and that is unfortunately a Polonia Brothers movie.
Oh, this is a very different film, it looks like.
I'm in.
Yeah, this is Will Colazzo Jr. and Sean C. Phillips. There's a house that has a shark bursting out of the roof, covered in blood.
Wow.
Wait, what's it called?
Amityville Shark House.
Weird. That's not popping up on Letterboxd, but that's probably why. Because
Not
It's
real.
on IMDb.
Letterboxd has God, how many fucking Amityville movies did the Polonia Brothers make? I hate this. Just like 3 of them. This is the worst thing I've ever done. Alright, let's talk about the remake. What?
Amityville
Oh my God,
Shark
though.
House, the funding just ended 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why.
that's why it's not on here yet.
Somebody from Amityville Shark House, though, is from Ghost Shark.
Look, I'm just saying, maybe I'll be dead by the time we get to that, so
I mean,
Katie can continue on her own.
I don't think I will.
Not gonna keep up the
It's up to
legacy.
you, Katie.
It does kind of look like that same shark puppet, too. The one that busted out of the house.
Woof.
Yeah.
It rules that they only asked for $5,000 to make this movie somehow, and they got 33,000.
That's
I expect a good-looking shark and an
Mhm.
okay-looking house.
Mm-mm.
what a nightmare this franchise is. Quote
It's
unquote.
unbelievable.
Alright. So we've all seen this before, I assume.
Yes. Mhm.
I know
I actually hadn't.
Oh, really?
I'd seen bits of it, but I never watched it in full before.
I went and saw this in the theater either the day or the weekend it came out. Just like on a whim. I was like, I don't know, I'm not doing anything else. I just went. like I don't even know if I'd seen the original at that point.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the original.
It's
It's a franchise I'm unfamiliar with outside of It's About Time.
honestly like so far based on the 9 movies we've watched,
Christ.
this one and 2 are the only ones I would say are worth watching.
This I'd say was a pretty good movie.
This is, I
It's
think,
not amazing, but it's very watchable. It's pretty brisk.
this is one of those ones that I think like this is like, you know, the probably up near the top of like those mid 2000s remake
Yes.
glut.
That's all I could think watching it was this is definitely an upper tier Platinum Dunes remake.
Like I think a lot of that has to just do with like Ryan Reynolds and Melissa George.
Yes.
Because, like, for the most part, the directing is just, like, I feel like a lot of the stuff in this is just kind of emblematic of, like, what like, all of the ghost movies at the time. Like, The Ring came out, and every movie was just like, we gotta have that weird shit where, like, their face changes.
Weird CG face. Like,
but, like, I don't know. I think Ryan Reynolds is really good in this. And, like,
he was great.
Comes off like genuinely like pretty creepy when he just gets that weird stern like angry Ryan Reynolds face.
Yeah, his descent into, you know, being a lunatic was really good, I thought.
Yeah. What about you, Katie?
I've definitely seen this before. We sort of talked in our very first episode that we did about how we both remembered this like being pretty okay. I watched this like since I've lived in California, so like within the last 2 years, and I sort of remember liking it better than I did when I rewatched it again yesterday, and I don't really know why, but like it's totally fine. This is like a very 2005 ghost movie. And I think like if you're gonna reboot, because like the thing with this one is like they change. So I'm not gonna recap. Like if you guys didn't listen to our first episode on Amityville, like you should probably go back and do that, because like we talk a lot about like the history of the first movie. I still think the first movie is worth it. I think just to have like a base about what's happening, like the first 2, and then definitely this one, because most of the other ones have been really shitty. So this is a remake, but like they also just kind of like took the story and did whatever they wanted with it. So they did add a lot of stuff that they just like completely made up, which I sort of feel like if you're gonna remake a movie, like I looked up the Amityville again today and found out some stuff I actually didn't know. Like the first movie, if you like I don't know what it's called, but if you like take the amount of money that it made then versus like whatever, it made like more money than like Alien did and like a bunch of other movies like that. So like I just think that's
it
crazy.
was a big deal.
Yeah, if you're gonna try and remake a movie like that, like why not just do whatever you want with it, right? Like what's the point otherwise?
Toss a shark in. Put that shark in a house.
Yeah, you know, whatever.
Put that house on an island.
I think it kind of depends on what you're remaking, because like I think the ones that do work best usually divert enough. Like the Evil Dead remake works because it's basically they were just like, well, we have the people in the cabin and then like shit goes haywire, but it's not like the same exact story as like the Bruce Campbell one, and it's kind of like this one, like it's the same like skeleton of like the plot, but then they just changed just enough to make it like kind of keep you on your toes, I guess.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is that I don't feel like this movie gives you any kind of throwback to the original at all. Like it's not even the same house. And they've made this like remake, they've made it truly just like a haunted house situation, right? Whereas like in the first one, it was kind of like ambiguous whether it was like a ghost situation or maybe it was some kind of like demon thing happening. And it really makes sense because like back then, when the first one came out, like exorcism demon stuff was like really big, involving the church in your situation was really big. And in 2005, like none of that's true. So they really did sort of like, I mean, like there is that they did recreate the fly scene or whatever, just because I feel like they felt like they had to, because that's like so iconic. But other than that, it's like a completely different movie wherein there's just stuff happening all the time. And a lot, and it's like more of a classic haunting because there's shit happening that like the main characters don't even notice. Like a lot of the stuff with Jodie, the little girl, I did visually like the way that she looked, but there's a lot of stuff that happens with her that's kind of just like a jump scare kind of thing that like the characters don't even notice. So like that was sort of weird.
Yeah,
And I feel like
the Jodie stuff for me, I think, is the least interesting part of the movie.
well, and we answered our question of the giant demon pig. No giant demon pig in this one because we just see Jodie as a little girl the whole time.
Devastating.
But other than that, like none of the stuff that I personally liked about the original movie made it into this one at all. Because like for me, aside from like I already said, like I think they did a much better job with Ryan Reynolds looking creepy and scary, like turning from a normal dude into being like, well, this one I'm not really sure if this one's a little bit more confusing because it kind of is like, is he being driven crazy or is he being possessed? But he thinks the rest of the family's being possessed. I don't really know what's going on.
I mean, I assume based on like the end or anytime he leaves the house that there's some sort of like possession going on.
Right, but like that was like a thing that they decided, I guess, because it's. But I mean, they did a much better job of making him look and act creepy because I feel like in the first one he mostly just was like sweaty, and I think they changed it. Whereas this is like really weird. I just read like a trivia saying that Ryan Reynolds like specifically decided not to be close with the kids on set because he wanted to be able to like mistreat them later, essentially, like in the movie how he's like turns into like an abusive dad or whatever. So he didn't want that connection. But I thought they did a really good job of early in this movie making it seem like, yeah, he's the stepdad, but like he does actually have a good relationship with them. And so when he starts turning on them, it's a lot more like unsettling than in the original, where I felt like, was it Josh Brolin? I always forget his name.
Yeah, no. Is James Brolin the dad?
James. It's James. I always get their names mixed up. Yeah, it's James Brolin.
It's the one that's not Thanos.
He was just like, he just was like a stoic, like I don't feel like his personality changed. Like he was never had like a super great relationship with the kids. Like he didn't portray it that way. And then when he starts getting possessed or whatever's happening to him, he just kind of gets like sweaty and that's it. But Ryan Reynolds and like, to be totally honest, like I am not a super big Ryan Reynolds fan, but I did like him in this movie. Like I felt the role fit him just because he does go from like super nice, great guy, like authentically to like, I'm gonna just like kill my whole family.
I think the thing too is because this was like, he had a bunch of movies before, but this was like maybe his like second or third like starring role. And like it's different. It's interesting watching it now because like I feel like Ryan Reynolds is like an actor that like it just seems like a genuinely like nice dude. And so like even like at the beginning you watch it and you're like, yep, that's that Ryan Reynolds, and then once he starts becoming like a dick and like extremely like mean to the kids and his wife, like it's like believable. And it's just interesting coming from like this dude who just like, I don't know, anytime you see him just looks like this nice guy. Just like the Canadian boy.
Yeah. So I feel like as far as his role goes, they did a lot better job of adapting it than like, yeah.
Fuck, there's something I was gonna bring up. I don't remember what it was. Probably something about shirtless Ryan Reynolds.
That was
My God.
unnecessary.
I disagree.
Why is
I'm
he
in.
so ripped?
Cause he has to play
I
fucking
saw-
Deadpool in like
It's
2 years or something.
it's chopping all that fucking wood.
Yeah, he wasn't like that
I
at the
read-
beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I read this like thing where this guy was just like really tearing apart this remake, and he essentially was just like, this movie, one of the things he said was like, this movie was supposed to take place in the 70s. Men didn't look like
Yeah.
that in the 70s. And I was like, okay, it's 2005. Okay,
It's because like the same year, or yeah, he probably jumped straight from Blade Trinity to this. So like he had that body from being in Blade, and then it was just like, I mean, if you got paid to get
might
that
as well
body,
use it.
keep it up. And then like a couple years later, he did like X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then like Green Lantern and shit. So like, like it's just kind of, that's just what his body was like. But I thought about that too. I was like, I don't know if dudes necessarily look like this in 75.
And I mean, like, he's a construction worker, but like, I haven't really seen many construction workers that walk around looking like that.
I also completely forgot that this was like a period piece movie. For some reason I thought it took place in modern day, though, like when I just in my memory, because like really for the most part, like they don't do anything that makes it seem very 70s.
No, I
except
completely forgot it was 70s until y'all mentioned it just now. I was like, oh, was it? Huh.
Aside from like their outfits, and then like the terrible babysitter who was like really kind of overboard. She was like definitely stereotypical like hippie girl.
Very 70s.
There's all the shit like
Other than
Kiss
that,
and Alice
though,
Cooper and all that shit on like the kids' walls. So I guess that makes sense, but
yeah. So other than that, no, they didn't really try super hard. But like, who cares? Like.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is an extremely 2005 movie. There's like a gory montage in the beginning. They like really play up how sensational.
Oh my God, I thought like I
the
don't
situation
know how,
was.
like if you have like epilepsy or some shit, the beginning of this movie is like it's like I was just watching on my own. I was like, Jesus Christ, my eyes.
I realized watching this, my least favorite thing about all of the Platinum Dunes remakes from the early 2000s is that they all look like piss. Like,
yeah,
they've got that horrid yellow-green like
hue to it or
filter
whatever
to them. Yeah, it's like looks like Alien Resurrection throughout all of them.
How dare you?
It does, like, because
it helps Alien Resurrection, but all of these films look the same.
Yeah.
Like, you could basically, like, obviously minus, like, cast and that shit. Like, you could throw this, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Friday the 13th, or Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Like, they have the same look to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so,
House of Wax.
So mad that they didn't get this Duke Nukem movie made. Or
Which one?
I don't know. There's but if you go to Letterboxd and like you could look up like through Platinum Dunes, there's a Duke Nukem on here with John Cena cast as Duke Nukem. That is I don't know when this is from.
Oh,
but
that was September 30th. Says John Cena's Duke Nukem movie reportedly moving forward.
I am in.
Last year.
Give me John Cena saying horrendous shit to people.
He's a perfect Duke Nukem.
Yes. Let's talk about that movie.
Wow.
What do you think that movie's gonna be like?
Please give me John Cena saying, blow it out your ass.
Just John Cena shooting strippers or something, like...
I'm gonna rip off your head and shit down your neck.
Yes. I'm in.
And then he FUs all the aliens.
What a perfect game.
That's my problematic fave, is Duke Nukem.
Yeah, I fucking loved those games when I was a kid. Yeah, I think I like this one less watching it this time. I had a much better like memory of it, but I still think it holds up pretty well. Like, I kind of like, despite the subtle racism of like the just saying Indian people and all that kind of shit during it, like the scene when Melissa George's character is like researching in the library, and then like Ryan Reynolds is just like breaking into that room in the basement.
That whole thing was so. No, like that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like my memory of liking like of this movie was better, and it was still fine, but like I somehow completely forgot about the weird torture basement like murder montage shit that happened with that. And when I was watching it, I was just like, how did I blank this out? It's like so terrible.
I knew that scene happened in one of the movies. And so the first like episode we did, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is in like one of the first couple movies. And then I was like, wait, this didn't happen at all. Did I like make this up? So then when I was watching this, I was like, that's right. It's Ryan Reynolds just getting fucking
covered in blood
cummed all over.
Very strange. Very strange. Then I also thought it was weird that they just like sort of tried to create their own like evil guy. There's like that evil Puritan guy who like ran the murder dungeon situation that has like Jodie's spirit, I guess, like trapped in the house. And I was like, where did this come from? And they don't even ever really like use him that much. So I was like, what is the point of even like creating a completely new character to just like not really.
I mean, you know,
like,
that this was planned as like a franchise again. Like they were planning on doing sequels. Then I just think like that whole remake thing kind of like the bubble burst on it, and they had to like chill out.
Yeah,
because like I feel like remakes didn't necessarily stop, but like this period of like, if you, I don't know, I assume everybody that listens to us is roughly our age, but like 2003 to like 10 was just like a fucking wasteland of just horror remakes. And
how dare you say that about The Fog?
I've seen that, and I don't remember hating it, but I also don't remember loving it.
I never saw it because it looked awful.
It, like, I think that was one of those ones, though, that if I remember correctly, was pretty much just the same storyline. It just looks updated. So,
yeah,
like,
no, original looks good enough.
I mean, I agree. It looks like these movies, but like blue instead of that weird yellowy green. Like,
Blue piss.
I don't recall that movie being like, you know, like it's not like the Nightmare on Elm Street one where it's just like an abomination. Like, it's not great, but it's like, you know, it's like a one time only kind of watchable thing. I don't remember. Oh, I was like, because like this came out, I think like The Omen came out the next year, and that remake was horrible. Yeah. Like, there was just this like, I don't know, the period like I feel like right after this is when all the like real shitty ones happened, because like Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake is okay, like it's not terrible.
I watched it the other night for the first time in a few years, and it is much worse than I remember it being.
I think mostly the reason I don't remember it being so bad is I still think the scene with like the piano where the dude's on the meat hook I like a lot, where he's just like, his toes are kind of like tinkling on like the fucking piano keys. That one always like sticks with me. But I also have not probably watched that since it came out, so it could probably not hold up. But I don't know, like the Friday the 13th remake, I'll back.
That one's still good.
Like, that was a platinum.
I'd say that's number one.
I guess. Well, in this era, I will back that Evil Dead remake as maybe the best remake of, like, you know, obviously not counting like The Thing and shit like that.
Also piss colored. A weird theme. I don't like it.
I forgot fucking Supernatural dude was in Friday the 13th.
And House of Wax.
Also, Willa Ford. Remember her?
No.
Yeah, alright. Well, she's the topless girl that gets the machete to the top of her head in Friday the 13th. And she was a pop star for like a year.
Under the dock.
Yeah.
When he... That was pretty good.
But yeah, like this, I feel like this was probably like the end of the, like, of them at least the remakes, from what I remember, being pretty watchable to where they just start becoming pretty fucking terrible for a couple years, and then like then you start getting into, I don't know, where they're like, I feel like most of the remakes, it's like one good one will come out every year, and then it'll just be like a bunch of shit that I'm like, I'm never gonna watch this. Like the fucking, they started doing like the like there's that Day of the Dead remake that went straight to fucking like Netflix or some shit with like Ving Rhames.
Not good.
Yeah, like shit.
I know
like,
you're surprised to hear that.
Like once that shit started happening, I was like, I'm never watching any of these. But like, you know, there was like a period where like I went and saw The Omen when it came out because I love The Omen, and I was like, I don't know, I'll see what this is about. Like same thing with Amityville. I was like, I got nothing going on this Saturday, so I was like, I'll go check it out. And that movie sucks.
Even in high school, I knew The Omen was bad, and that's saying something.
It's so bad.
I don't think I've seen the remake actually.
I want to say don't do it, but I also kind of would like to hear your. I feel like you're gonna be like, I kind of like that.
I'm inclined to agree with you,
it's real bland. It's very like I think the best word for it is just very bland.
The My Bloody Valentine remake, solid.
I'll back that.
Opinion.
I remember that being pretty good.
The 3D helped, honestly.
I saw the 3D, but I don't think I've seen the original for that one.
The original is fantastic.
I'm just trying to look up horror remakes and see.
That's what I was doing.
I mean, yeah, Halloween suck. There's like, yeah, you also had like the Carrie remake at the time, which like is just unneeded, but like not horrible. Like it's just like a movie. It's just there. The Last House on the Left remake. Like this is just like a period of like just all of this.
Yeah.
Oh, the Willard remake. That movie fucking rules.
Well, and then like technically they were also doing like American remakes. That's like when all the American remakes of like the Japanese movies that were coming out also, and a lot of them are like whatever at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, The Fog was the same year.
I was gonna say, I think it was 05, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know there was a Night of the Demons remake.
Oh yeah, it's really bad. It's got Edward Furlong in it.
Can't imagine that's good.
What is Don't Be Afraid of the Dark a remake of?
Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
But like, no.
It was a made for TV movie in the 70s.
Oh.
Are they doing another remake of The Blob?
Wasn't Rob Zombie talking about it like ages ago? I'm sure it's passed on to someone else.
Probably
But
was.
I don't know, but this has Samuel L. Jackson and Halle Berry connected as the cast, so maybe I'm in.
Huh.
It doesn't have a director though, so.
I want to say he had talked about that before. I mean, like a year or two before he was connected to the Munsters movie.
Why would you remake Flatliners? Like,
I don't know.
I forgot they did that. Weird.
Horror is a weird place.
It really is, yeah.
All right, so what's some things everybody liked about this movie?
Ryan Reynolds, specifically his beard and his shirtlessness.
Yeah, best part for me.
He was really good in it. It felt kind of like there was a sense of urgency to it. Like it never let itself get bogged down by the plot. It was always moving.
So one of the things,
a very brisk hour and a half.
One of the things that was interesting about this is I think every movie we've watched so far has been right under 2 hours, except this one. And so this one, I was like, man, this like flew by, and I was like, well, it's because there's like a solid 30 minutes cut out of it that was of like unneeded bullshit where you're like. All of the rest of them, there's just like it's that shit, especially like the first couple of like the 70s and or early 80s, where it's just like, well, we should probably spend like an hour fucking getting to know this family before shit happens, and like this one didn't do that, and I was very thankful for that.
There's not a ton of exposition, like it will tell you things via screen instead of having someone explain it to you. It's like whenever she's in the library, like looking in newspapers and shit.
Yeah.
Not a lot of wasted dialogue either. It's all very to the point, and it kind of focuses more on, like, whenever Ryan Reynolds is descending into madness or whatever. He sounds like a dick, but also it's just more his mannerisms. So they'll focus on showing him, being a physically angry, aggressive person. Like whenever he has his stepson holding the wood for him to chop.
Yeah.
So scary.
Stuff like that helps make it like tense and kind of speeds things along, instead of you've got to sit there and just watch people talk at each other for 20 minutes to get on to the next bit.
I gotta say, it was also good that this is the first movie, I think, since the first one to not have a big old incest scene in it.
Yeah.
The kid, literally all of these movies involve incest in some way, and it's a bummer.
Why?
Yeah.
It's so the second
who knows?
movie, the director, you should watch Possession, since you said I don't think you've seen
I
it.
think
Possession
you would like it.
rules. It's very 80s. It has some pretty incredible practical effects. But
I've never seen it, but it's playing at a theater around here within the next week or two, and I need to make sure that I don't have anything.
I would definitely
going on.
It's the one that I've said that so far that I was like, if I bought any of these physically, it would be that one.
Literally when we were watching it, I was like, this movie kind of slaps, and like for sure, I think you'll like it.
The director, talked about how he wanted to make the movie or the audience as uncomfortable as possible while watching it, as just this added effect to the possession and all that shit. And I guess so there's a scene where the son and daughter, and I can't remember if they're if they're blended or not, or if they're really were they actually, I know some of them are blended families and shit, but so they have a scene where the son comes in and he's the one that's possessed, and he starts hitting on his sister, and they have this weird flirtatious shit, and then right before they kiss, it cuts to the next scene of her confessing to this priest.
Oh no.
And he's and she's I did this thing, and kind of hints at it. I don't know if she specifically, I don't remember if she specifically says they I think she does say that they fuck, and that he talked her into it because he wants to make God mad was his excuse. But,
oh my god.
But originally there was an entire sex scene the director filmed that had to be cut out after test screenings. And it's every movie following that has had some shit where the mom's trying to fuck her stepson, or it's just every fucking one where I'm oh my god, why, stop. It works in the second one only for when you realize what the director was going for. Everyone after that, it just feels weird and forced and upsetting and
that is absolutely deranged.
Oh man,
there's also multiple scenes of people making out and or touching a clone of themselves. Very strange.
As one does.
There's a lot of it.
I mean, look, I would.
Well, and the thing that's that we were sort of talking about, we talked about specifically at the time, is that the actors are portraying teenagers, so it's very unsettling. Yeah,
it's straight because I think it's Diane Franklin is the girl in 2.
Yeah, and you had looked up how old she was.
Yeah, because you see her topless, and I was oh god, I was is she old enough to do this? And I think she was
Christ,
barely old enough to be doing it.
I think you said she was 21 or
was
20
she?
years.
I don't know.
It was still pretty young. Yeah,
it's very strange.
Yeah.
That's weird franchise.
I
keep saying that every episode.
Yep.
I like when Jody put the babysitter's finger in her head wound.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
That rules.
I had forgot about like all of that stuff.
That's
with
the
the little ghost girl.
only part with Jody that I like. The ending is trash when they leave the house. Like, I hate that.
That was very dumb.
But like, I think the one thing I like about most of the other ones is like you never really see a physical manifestation or anything like that of like a ghost. Like there's like the fucking lamp one, you see like a fucking demon face in the lamp and shit, but like I think this was the only one that you see like an actual ghost, and I was like, this is so 2005.
Yeah, oh no, it really is. They also do I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's what else do I like about it? Aside from like Ryan Reynolds' crazy eyeball getting all messed up stuff. I did like some of the stuff with Jody. The thing that I was saying I liked about the original is that like it wasn't really focusing on the kids that much, and this is kind of like the opposite where there's like too much kid stuff. Like I like, what's her name? Chloe Grace Moretz.
She looks
I like
so
her,
weird
but
in this
like,
because like I don't remember
she's
ever
a
seeing her.
baby.
Yeah, seeing her that young.
I felt so old.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, oh god.
My critique of her is somebody brush that child's hair. She was not looking her best.
My favorite thing in this entire movie is after the babysitter is like killed or not killed, like is like, you know, get taken out in the ambulance,
or whatever.
and like Michael, I think is the little kid. His hair is just like ripped all the way out, like he got electrocuted.
Yeah. So they focus a little bit too much on the kids for me, because like I don't care about the kids, and I don't care, like the whole roof scene was just stupid to me. But I don't know.
It like,
what else did I like?
I don't know. It's weird because like I feel like a lot of like the rest of them basically start like, I think one of the things I like about this one that I think is one of the aspects about the original that I liked is that all of the ones following the original, all of the families are already fucked up.
Yeah.
And this one, and if I remember correctly in the original, like they're just like a regular family. Like in Possession, it's just like fucking Rocky's coach is in it, and he's just like an abusive piece of shit that like rapes his wife and shit, and like you're like, okay, so like why, like I already hate these people, so I don't give a fuck if they die. But like this one and like the original, I was like, okay, well like these seem like likable regular characters that aren't just like a shitty family that all hates each other already. So like it adds to that thing of like when Ryan Reynolds starts like going crazy, you kind of like are more invested because he's not already a piece of shit at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean like he is their stepfather, but like they do a really good job of like kind of establishing that like it's not like a typical stepfather situation. Like the kids genuinely just like him. He's fine. But I don't know.
Okay, so wait a minute. Is Rob Zombie still... Oh no, this was December 2018.
Now it's canceled.
Thank God. I don't need the Blob to call somebody like a dick-sucking trailer trash or some shit. Like fucking Grandpa Monster's
The Blob's
gonna do.
driving Dracula through
Yeah.
town.
Oh my god.
Um,
That's how you know it's close, because you hear Dracula.
I like the... It's just all of a sudden you're like, wait, is it slam in the back of my Dracula? Like, oh fuck, not
like,
again.
Run! It's either someone that likes Rob Zombie or it's the Blob. Either way, run.
Yeah, either way, run.
Blob Zombie.
Blob.
Oh yeah, like Kip mentioned earlier, like the shit with like the wood cutting is like upsetting.
Yes, very much.
Because like I almost.
The way,
well, good.
The way he's like, you gotta hold steady, buddy, because if you get shaky, I get
It's
shaky.
so creepy.
Well, his This fucking gigantic ripped man is just fucking swinging an axe, like practicing. It's like, oh my god, this child is so dead.
Like when you know he's possessed, but he's like still nice is when he's the creepiest. Like that shit when he's like, all right, buddy,
nice.
and you're like, oh my god. Like I like that shit. I like
the kid's just like sobbing, and he's just like,
when I like the payoff of like when he's putting the screws in the windows because the windows keep opening up, and he like they're all like barely in the
like
window, and
in.
you're just like, what the fuck? And then like once the house won't let them out, and they like screw themselves in. Like I kind of liked that. I feel like I like the entire ending kind of climax to this movie, except the fake out of him like hitting Melissa George with the axe, because that just feels very of the time. I'm sure at the time when I was like, you know, how old would I have been when this came out? Maybe like 22, something like that. I was probably like, hell yeah, that rules. And now I'm just like, this is unneeded. You could have made this movie an hour and 16 minutes instead.
Or they could have just, well, because like the biggest difference for me between these two movies, aside from the like how much haunting is actually going on and like how fast paced this one is that like in the original movie, not that much stuff goes down, like, you know, like we talked about, and then also towards the end, George just is kind of like, oh man, if we stay here, something bad's gonna happen, and they just like they just kind of like casually walk out of the house and get in the car and drive away. Whereas in this one, he like legit almost murders them. Like he almost gets them, and they gotta like fuck him up in order to get him away from the house or whatever. And so I don't know, like I kind of maybe would have liked if they just like had him kill everybody.
That would have been like
an
interesting ending.
It was very nice of her to not blow his brains out when she had the shotgun pointed at his head, because I think I would have just pulled the trigger and been done with everything. You know,
I don't know.
He's got an axe. He's about to swing at my child. Like,
you gonna not look at that body every night after that? Like,
True.
You gotta be saving those abs.
I think they like lean heavily on us picking up some kind of implication that like she multiple times she takes him away from the house, like they go to eat, they go to the doctor, and she notices like he's immediately better. She also has the knowledge of like the murder basement or whatever that she doesn't actually talk to anybody about, I don't think. Oh, you know what, she does talk to the father, and he's like, yeah, the DeFeos had that problem.
Man,
and she's like, I'm living in their house.
I was
like,
so glad that like this movie didn't have like a 25-minute exposition scene like all the rest of them, of like the father explaining what happened in the house. Like that was the thing that I did like where Kit was like, you know, a lot of that shit was taken up by like pictures, like visually, and like all the rest of them is just like so much shit with like a priest.
Yeah, a lot of it. Like, until you get into the 2000s where we just don't care about priests anymore. Like, or like the late 90s, you know, none of those movies were like religious in any way either.
Yeah, once they started becoming about haunted dollhouses, they were just like, who fucking cares? Look at this dollhouse. Not enough haunted clocks in this movie for me.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Because that movie also rules.
So, I mean, I don't know. As far as remakes go, and especially remakes of movies that are kind of like, you know, bigger or whatever, it's totally fine. It's extremely 2005. Like, so if you like that kind of thing, I feel like this is a pretty good one.
Yeah, I still back that this is probably it. This is probably my second favorite of the 9 so far.
It's definitely up there for me. A lot of them have been pretty intolerable.
Nothing is gonna beat 2 for me, I think, out of this entire franchise, because
I don't think so.
I don't expect Amityville Toy Box to do anything for me. Amityville Vibrator might go up there if I can find a way to watch it.
I'll have to wait and see.
I'm trying. I look at least once a week to see if I can find it, like, just illegally somewhere, and I have not found it yet, so...
Devastating.
I know. There's no way that movie's not perfect. I don't know. Any, like, final thoughts about the remake? Houses don't kill people, people kill people.
That's true. You said it.
Surprised the house didn't explode at the end.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Like, number one, it
should've-
was Michael Bay producing it, but also all of the rest of them, the house explodes, I think, except for maybe the first one.
Yeah, explodes or like burns down or something.
Best,
They should have Hellraisered it
yes.
and just had the house like melt into the ground, and then just for some reason a skeleton dragon flies away.
I mean, to be fair, that's basic. Like, I think it's 3. Like, the house just, like, explodes and there's, like, a weird pool of, like, purple goo under it or some shit.
Is that
Hell
the
yeah.
one with where there's like a ice, like they have a well in the oh no wait, yeah, that was 3D. They had like a well in the basement, and then like a demon comes out of it, but then it turns into ice, but then the house explodes, and I was like, what is happening here? Just no explanation.
Oh, God. I don't know how these movies are real.
I don't know.
What a franchise.
It's pretty fucking wildly up and down.
Yeah.
Although I
It
will...
seems like there's a low ceiling and a much lower floor.
Well, the problem
Yeah.
is like, I think the ones that I appreciate more are the ones that kind of like About Time I liked because it had like the weird shit with like where it was like affecting time happening to people, where people would just be like, I don't know what happened, I just lost like 3 hours of my time and people couldn't find me, and like shit like that, or like it was like slowing down and speeding up time on people. The Dollhouse one was like sort of interesting, and as only because there were some weird demons at the end for like 30 seconds. Like 3D was just almost unwatchable because I remembered it being a monster movie that I don't know why I remember that. I think it's just because the poster tricked me.
Yeah.
Because there's like nothing cool in it. All the 3D is just like weird purple floating gas clouds that are supposed to be ghosts. Evil Escapes is borderline unwatchable, the one with the fucking lamp.
The lamp.
Because
yeah, that was not great.
everybody in it is just so unlikable. And then The Amityville Curse is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I agree.
It's basically a home renovation movie that all of a sudden there's just like some ghosts.
It's like the terrible combination of what's bad of all the movies, where like everyone is extremely unlikable and also nothing happens.
Not a shark in the entire movie.
No, not a single shark.
Yeah.
There's a tarantula though.
Sort of sad we got...
Amityville Tarantula.
Yeah,
That's a film I'd watch.
just don't tell people to add more movies to this, please.
Amityville Scooter.
Like...
Amityville Scooter Kids.
There's like, it's so...
Amityville Kombucha.
Oh, shit. It's such a bummer because I know, like, it's just straight downhill from here.
Yeah.
Like, Amityville Vampire...
Was there ever an uphill?
I mean, like,
It's a very short hill.
So I had seen the first 3 and I'd seen the remake. And I remembered, like, I never really liked the first one. It's just fine. It's just kind of a whatever movie to me. 2, I remembered having, like, interesting effects. And 3, for whatever reason, I remembered being better than it was. I was, like, looking forward to rewatching those. And then, like, I knew there was the ones about, I'm, like, Amityville, It's About Time. Just that title alone, I'm like, that's so stupid, I'm in.
It, it's great.
But like, so like, I was kind of looking forward to seeing some of them. I knew everything into like the 2013s and shit. I was like, these all just look like Tubi garbage, So like, I knew most of these are gonna be bad, but I was like, oh, at least like everything through the remake, I bet is probably pretty fun. But like, no, they're all pretty bad. Like, I don't know how this franchise keeps going. I know it's not a franchise because it's like none of them are tied together. It's just people that like, it's just, you could use the word Amityville and people will watch it. But like, it's just, I don't know. It's, I know going forward, like, Amityville Vampire is a title that I'm like, I'm in. That sounds dumb as shit. But like, I can look at the poster for it and I'm like, this looks like a movie that I would get tricked into watching on Tubi and just being like, this sucks shit, Like,
unlike Amityville Crayon.
Yeah. Amityville Sharpie. Just always out of ink when you need it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, I feel like I had only seen that I could recall the first one and the remake. And the second one was like surprisingly really good, but then with the third one, it took like a really steep drop. There was like things in the Dollhouse one that I liked for reasons that didn't really have anything to do with it being an Amityville movie though. And like, I assumed that some of the older ones would have like some redeeming qualities, but like, no, it's almost all straight up trash.
I'm at least hoping there's less incest going forward.
I think, well, we'll see. Yeah.
It's also like
the things that they're gonna replace it with, I feel like, are gonna make me even more mad than the incest.
Well, I think
honestly,
I think what's gonna suck is like, obviously like Amityville Clown House is probably going to be bad, but at least like stupid bad. So like, it feels like it'll be one of those like a very kind of like I Hope You Suffer specific type movie, but like the next 4 we have is like the Amityville Haunting, Amityville Asylum, Amityville Death House, Amityville Playhouse, where it's just gonna be, I think it's just gonna be boring, just haunting movies. Like, it's gonna be like Mermaid Lake of the Dead, where we're just like, okay, well, this sucks and is boring or whatever, I think once we start getting into the ones where it's like something stupid like Clown House, it'll at least be interesting, but like at least the next 4, especially if we're not doing The Conjuring, which would have been in there, like,
I don't know, I'm getting really strong Somnium vibes from the Clown House.
So it's gonna
That's never good.
It's gonna have a very good ending, you're saying?
Yeah.
At least Clown House is only 74 minutes.
Yeah, that's good. That's the thing, and that's the thing that I think was like the worst about these earlier ones, is that almost all of them are like 2 hours long, and it's just such a commitment for something that just doesn't pay off.
Amityville Toy Box is 66 minutes.
All right. Okay.
I'm just imagining the tail end of the movie, and it's just fucking Ghost Child. Oh, I missed her. You're in the Amityville house. Credits.
Well, what's funny is like we talked about too, like one of the movies takes place in like California because it's like the lamp that's haunted, and like we kind of talked about how like some of the more interesting aspects of some of these is when like it's outside of the house and it's like other shit being haunted, and like I would be interested if some of these ones where it takes the idea of Amityville and like puts it in a different setting, kind of at least makes it more interesting to me. But like, I don't, it's so many of these just look like they're going to be just shitty ghost stories in the Amityville house, and I'm just not interested in that.
I feel like a lot of them are going to be just like regular haunted stories that don't even mention or have anything to do with Amity, like at all.
Amityville in the Hood looks like it's going to be
idea?
very racist, so
I'm sure.
And
that's what I was
absolutely.
like. Whatever they're going to replace the incest with, it's going to be like homophobia or
100%.
racism, and I was like, I'm not. We'll see.
Oh
how bad it is.
This is a mistake.
Yeah.
What could we...
Amityville Amusement Park.
That would be sick. I'm in.
I'd go there.
I don't know if I'd go there, but I'll watch that movie.
I don't know about that.
All right. I gotta not think about these movies for a month now and get it out of my fucking brain.
Amityville Orangutan.
Oh.
I'm gonna like look at Letterboxd in like a month, and all of a sudden there's gonna be like 10 movies that pop up, and it's just gonna be shit like that. And I'm like, fuck a kid.
Amityville Sasquatch.
Amityville Air Force Ones.
Oh my god. You have fun with that, because I only signed on for what they actually consider as part of like the Amityville
Well, in that case, you're done.
series. So, I mean, I think there's a few more.
I think there was one more they said
the wiki.
that was only connected because Diane Franklin is also in it.
Yeah, one of the newer ones. On the wiki, though, they do have some more of them connected. So I'm just going by that / what's free.
Cornfield better be on there.
The cornfield's probably not. Let me see.
What if it's like the Lutz left and started a cornfield?
Started a cornfield.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
because like if you just Google Amityville movies in order, it's Amityville up through Amityville. Oh God, Bella Thorne's in this one.
Oh yeah.
It's up through Amityville: The Awakening, which is 2017. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, at least 8 more of these.
Oh, you got way more than that.
I said at least.
Let's just hard turn
Like-
into monstered movies.
Is there more than one?
No, but I'm sure we can find more movies about poop.
Amityville
I'm-
Monstered.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what's gonna come next. It's gonna be some weird like Amityville Butt, the movie, or some shit.
Yeah, because it's like the next one is the Amityville Haunting in 2011. At least we've got the house on the cover, I guess. But then you don't even see the house until the only other one that I see is Amityville No Escape, which is 2016, which just looks like
I'm assuming that someone converted the Amityville house into an escape room.
right.
Honestly,
Amityville
I'm
Death
in. I would watch
Death
that.
House looks crazy.
Yeah. I'd
Amityville
probably
Death
watch
House
that.
is a Polonia Brothers movie. That's gonna be fucking unwatchable.
I see some weird. There's a weird spider lady.
Like one of them, I know.
Oh, tight. I'm in.
One of them. Oh, so the Amityville Haunting, the next one that we have to do is like a found footage movie, and I'm like,
fuck
Okay.
well,
that.
I'm like, I know it's not gonna be good, but I'm at least it's different from everything else we've watched so far. So I'm like interested to see
yeah.
what that ends up being. But like, I don't know. I'm way over just like general haunted house bullshit, and I know it's not gonna end because like this just seems like it's the easiest thing for these movies to do. It's just to be like a shitty haunted house movie.
Yeah.
Clown House looks like it's just gonna be like Clowntergeist, and I'm just upset. I'm upset. All right, I'm ending this so I can go eat because I don't want to talk about Amityville anymore.
I hope you Amityville grocery bag.
I hope you Ryan Reynolds,
Oh.
but shirtless.
Wow.